These are structures that I've gotten into, not by choice. Again, I didn't go run around looking for trees. I just found weird structures and go, what the hell is that? Like, for instance, look at that, look at that screen, DeeDee. What do you say? You
Yeah.
say, what the hell is that?
Yeah. It looks like it was made. It doesn't look like it just happened. It looks like almost a dream wheel.
And it was made, and we call it the dream catcher.
Yeah.
It's about like a 40-foot elm that's completely bent down and held down. And all these trees that you see in the middle of it are broken pine trees placed there.
Wow.
Yeah. So I found that here with another investigator. It's about 12 feet high, approximately 12 feet high. That the elm tree is about that far around. It's not little. And when you find something like this, basically on your property, you go like that for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Study it because it's very confusing and it's a lot to take in.
Me and Richie, we've known each other for like 20 plus years and we played softball together, played against each other. And, we were just associate friends, and we never like really knew each other. And what's amazing is that I saw him on Facebook in his podcast and he just started it. And I call him, I'm like, what is going on here? This dude, I got Bigfoot in my backyard. I go, what? I go, come on. Because I've always been intrigued by Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal. He goes, no, it's really happening in my backyard. And that what got me going. And then he called me the next day. He goes, hey, listen, because he told me you'd bring me by his house. I thought this would be it. But he goes, no, I have an investigation to go. But my producer can't go because she's sick. You want to come? I want to see what you're seeing. And that's how it all, ever since that trip to North Central Mass and finding these huts, like these 4 huts and everything and all these twisted trees. I've been a hunter all my life. I've never seen anything like this. But you learn through yourself of what you're looking for and how, he didn't give me a session on how to look for strange stuff. I was just seeing it, through myself. Yeah. And then have this discussion with him, dude, this is strange. How this tree intertwines this. And I mean, you say to yourself, that's unnatural. And, we always say whirly winds. That's what people say. Well, it's the wind. No, it's not. It's just something with thumbs that's doing this. And I can't figure out who or what. And so now we're getting vocalizations, we're getting whistles and, rock clacking and tree knocks. We're constantly getting this. And I think that the more we're around, going out, that, they know our smell and everything, they're just like, all right, the boys are here, and it's like, hey, out in the woods. So, and we just have fun. We just roll.
So you think that, because I noticed that with paranormal ghost investigations is the same thing. The more you do it seems like the more interaction you get. So it sounds like what you're saying is the same thing with Bigfoot. Do you think that in my mind, I always growing up, there was a Bigfoot. There's one Bigfoot tooling around, right?
Yeah.
But it seems to me because it's in so many places, is it a Bigfoot that travels around, or is it a community of Bigfoots? What do you think?
Good, Rich.
I think it's a species of Bigfoots. I think that, and the reason why we feel that we know that, and again, I'm talking about something that isn't scientifically discovered, but when you go by the descriptions, the continents, the countries, the regions, the geographical connections, you have a Yowie, you have a Yeti, you have, a Bigfoot. They all seem to be adapted to their geographical areas. A Yeti, kind of big, angry, a lot of them would come out gray, or they live in a big, cold, snowy environment. I'd be big, gray, and pissed off too. You know what I mean? You know, you always, you always tend to be, I guess, a little bit smaller than like the traditional Sasquatch sightings. You know, in Australia, skunk ape is another one that is known to be more like slender and a little more physically built, like more ripped than jacked, so to speak, right? He lives out, you know, he supposedly lives down in Florida. I think there's a lot more vegetation down there that they can eat. They're more of like a vegetarian, but not. I think they're omnivores. I think they eat everything. Don't get me wrong, but I think, you know, for me, and I asked somebody this, and they didn't think it was the case, but I don't know. If a skunk ape smells like a skunk, and there's an abundance of a food down there that smells skunky, and they eat it, just like Jack Daniels on a Friday night when they secrete it and smell like a skunk, right? So I have skunk cabbage in my yard. You can imagine the vast growth of skunk cabbage in the Everglades where the skunk ape has been seen. So, you know, that's one of my theories. I don't think a skunk comes up and sprays him. I don't think it's just because he smells like pee, because pee doesn't normally smell like a skunk. I'm just saying. And then you get out to this area more, and you have the more traditional Sasquatch, kind of bulky, kind of big, very fit, because he's walking around all the time. You know, lots of different sightings about the coat being so coarse, which would help with the rain. You know, more like like oil of a duck type of setting. So my point is that if we have, you know, somebody who lives in the North Pole, for instance, right? They're going to have a different living environment. They're going to have a different skin color than somebody that lives in the Caribbean, who lives in a totally different structure. You know what I mean? And is out in the sun all the time. And, you know, so, you know, just like humans, right? We all look different, and we all eat different, and we all live off our land that we have in our region. I feel that the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, is the same exact thing. So I don't think that there's just one. I think that there's many everywhere. So, and it's going to be, I don't know if we'll ever find all of them, but it's going to be pretty mind blowing if we ever get an expedition that can sit down and do the Jane Goodall theory, right? Jane Goodall sat in the woods, and she sat with apes, great apes, stuff like that. Things that we didn't think existed. Remember, we didn't think great apes, mountain apes, and all that didn't exist. Right? Mountain gorillas, excuse me, didn't exist, but they do. And then we were able to study them. Well, I don't know if this is a creature we'll actually be able to study in safety, or in a way like that, where they're just living out in the open. You know, I don't know if that's the case, but maybe we'll find a way. You know, maybe we'll find somewhere where I see. The problem is too, is I think they're nomadic. I think they're constantly moving. I don't think they're necessarily migrational. I don't think one comes from Massachusetts and goes all the way up to Canada and, you know, and stays up there. I just don't believe that. The experiences I've had have been really consistent, with the same ones, and I can tell which ones they are by their footprint size. So,
wow.
Well, who knows?
There's a lot of physical features too. I mean, so you were talking about portals and stuff. We're finding a lot of physical features, footprints. We're hearing rock clacking, you know, the tree knocks. We're hearing whoops, all sorts of other like whistles and so on and so forth, and a lot of tree structures. Like, so this physical stuff that's out there. But again, why are they so elusive? Why, you know, no one's ever found one, and no one has DNA. Well, I mean, they just don't want to be found. And you know, as for like portals and things like that, who knows? I mean, it's a possibility, but
it sounds like they're so intelligent that, because to be able to avoid humans at this point, I mean, we're kind of everywhere. We have like drones, and we have ways of like the cameras and all that kind of stuff. So it seems like they're smart enough to be able to basically outsmart us, and they choose to communicate, I guess, with some people for whatever reason, you know. But do you think that you'll ever, like, so one was coming to your backyard. Is that what got you interested in Bigfoot in the first place, or were you interested before?
No, I'm open-minded. I was a paranormal investigator my whole life. I woke up looking at a lady in my room when I was 8, and she came back 3 nights in a row. And it turns out when I described her to my mother, she was my grandmother who had passed. But my father was 13. I had never met her, seen pictures of her, nothing. Kind of taboo because it was so painful for the family at the time, I guess. So,
Yeah.
so my point to that is when I got older, and I started living life, I was like, I wanted to go back to that moment and I wanted to research that moment. So I became a paranormal investigator, trying to understand that moment. And that's what I did. I went out and became a paranormal investigator. My family was involved, my sister, my brother-in-law, my little nieces, my brother went out a few times. We really just got into it over and over again. So for me, and the reason why I say that is because to answer your question, I was approached by something in my backyard. I was interested and open-minded through the paranormal world. You watch a show with paranormal. Well, guess what? Bigfoot and cryptids are tied in with the paranormal world, whether we all want to admit it or like it or not. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
So of course I started, my mind was open to anything. I mean, when you see a ghost in your room as a 7, 8-year-old boy, and she knows your name and she's rubbing your hair and you're running through her scared 3 nights in a row, you believe that exists because you saw it. So once that happened, when someone said, "Oh, Mothman destroyed a bridge," I was like, possibly, right? Bigfoot ran across there. A female Bigfoot was walking through California. You know what I mean? Sure, why not? You're right. So now they talk about Dogman. I don't want to go there, but okay, you know what I mean? Because I lived it. So when I was in my backyard, I was hearing something walk around. And to give context, I own 3 acres of land in what's called the Bridgewater Triangle. And abuts 94 acres of conservation. And about a mile out is a major riverway. It's a river. And, you have to have purpose to be out there because it bottlenecks to my house. There's a street up the road here with all houses, and then my street with houses. So everybody abuts this land. There's one way in and basically one way out unless you got a canoe. So there was no reason really for anybody to be out there. But, I brushed it off. The walking around, the crunching, the stick breaking. Yeah, I brushed it off. And then I was out there one night and I hear the same thing. And I'm like, this doesn't make any. Who the hell's out in the woods at night? I'm thinking a hunter. So I'm, maybe looking around for like a light. I'm doing all these things. I went through that. This was in a very infancy. The story that I mainly tell is closer to where I am now because I have to sometimes lay back and think like, oh my God, I remember that. That was way back. I go on my couch and lay there and go, well, who else walking around outside right now? Like it just didn't make sense to me. So the rational part of my brain always took those little incidences and put it over here. Yeah. So now that I know what I know, I could go back and revisit that and go, oh my God. Now it all ties in. So then I was in the yard one day and I had an acorn fall and hit me. And I remember just going about and I went, man, there's nothing but pine trees.
Oh.
So I was an acorn fall and hit me, right?
Yeah.
It took me a second. So that incident happened. And then I remember I was saying the same thing and an acorn didn't just fall, it hit me like right off the head.
Oh.
It hit me. And I'm looking around going, there's no way because my fence is like 50 yards from me. How are you going to make an acorn even go that far? Like, I didn't understand it, but it took a while for me to compute this. I'm processing this stuff at night when I'm by myself,
Yeah.
And I'm going, none of this is making sense. I'm hearing walking, breaking. I'm getting hit with acorns that I shouldn't be getting hit with. I don't understand it. And I just kind of went about my business. And then I started getting curious. And with the walking, I started kind of getting into the Bigfoot thing a little bit. Because I'm trying to, as a research paranormal investigator, I'm over here trying to research this now where I'm like, something's out. I think something might be out there.
Yeah.
Well, then I go out there and I would see these strange like tree formations, right? And none of them made sense to me. And I'm like, oh, it's the magic whirlwind, I'm sure, and it's the, incredible ice and snow and all that brilliant stuff Mother Nature does, which she does. I'm not oblivious or stupid or ignorant towards it. I get it. But some of these things, and I'll show you them, that they're unexplainable. So I was like, I would take that back and I'd start calculating 2 plus 2, and trying to go. And then one day I'm on the yard, raking up around a fire pit after a fire, night of fire, all that stuff gets around the edge. So I'm raking. I hear walking. It's 2 p.m, right? It's sunny out. There's no wind. Not crazy to think, even though I've owned the house since 2002 and it's now like 2015 or whatever the hell it was. And no one's ever been out there. Ever. I'm the one that goes out there. And I'm going, maybe somebody's out there, right? Well, all of a sudden I hear a tree make one little creak and I'm raking like that. Let me give you the context. So I'm raking like this and I hear this cracking over here, like kind of off to my shoulder here, right? I hear one crack and then I hear cash, one pull, one crack, one pull. And as I'm raking, I went like this to the sound of the crack. And I went like that and my head went right up because the tree was moving. So my eyes automatically went like this. And it's about a football field away, say, right? But there's a thicket here, and it's like all those are like 8 feet up, 9 feet up. The top of this tree was like 30 feet. So I could see the top of the tree coming down as I turned. I went like this, and I started going probably at like this angle, started coming down. And I'm sitting there like this, and I'm frozen. And I got goosebumps all over my body, and I'm sitting there going, now the math definitely not adding up, right?
Yeah.
Something with intelligence and strength just walked over to that very fresh oak tree or elm or whatever it was. I'm not a tree expert, and just snapped it. I heard it and I saw it, but I couldn't see it because of the height of the thicket and all the brush and stuff. So after I quickly get my bearings together, of course, in this world, we grab one of these, right? And I go over to the fence because I'm being brave, DeeDee. And I'm like, and I'm like, all right. I go, this is my property. That's yours. You stay there. I'll stay here. All right. We'll respect each other. And I grab my phone. I go, come on. Where you at? And I hold it out like a brave, And all of a sudden from the bushes. Now I never heard any movement after the tree. That's the crazy weird part. You can hear it on my phone. It's a little bit different sounding coming through the phone than what I heard with my own ears, but it goes from the thicket, right?
Oh, God.
So I said, I can't remember exactly. It was on video and I've clipped it, but it's there. I said some stupid man thing because men get a little, dumb upstairs. And then I went, then I go, what the hell are you saying, dude? So I back up and I start going towards the street where I felt safe. And I go up to the street and all of a sudden I have to catch myself with my hands on my knees like this. I'm like this. And I'm processing processing because now I'm putting something physical. The guttural sound was something physical.
Yeah.
That I was putting with the brake, and all the brakes are coming back and the acorns are coming back and the trees and all this stuff. It's like that. You see in a movie, right? Boom, 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 boom. You remember every little detail and you're like, and I call my buddy down in South Carolina. And he's like, at the time, he was like 20-something years old and he's a preacher. I said to him, dude, I got some questions for God. I'm confused. And I sent it to him and he goes, he just had like a big, like emoji, like, and he goes, well, dude, what is that? I said, you heard it, right? Because again, you go to the rational, of course he heard it.
Right.
And so that kind of catapulted me into, this is Sasquatch. This is something that he does. And I need to look into it more. And that's when I started watching Alex Petikoff and all the YouTube channels. And, I would see like Dave McCullough from Massachusetts on TV and Mike Trader over an episode of the Bridgewater Triangle and Matt O'Nees. And I'm watching all these guys and I'm like, that's my research, man. I'm taking notes on everything they say. And not just, them, but other people, random people, boots on the ground out there in the woods looking for stuff wrong, that's where I started my research from. And then lo and behold, it's very weird. You come to a time in a fork in the road where you got to buy a pair of boots of your own, DeeDee, and you got to get out into the woods and not be some, armchair quarterback, right? And I'm like, I gotta go see what's going on. And I started going out there regularly, taking pictures, and the landscape was constantly changing. The structures were different. Things were taken down and put back up. It was
Ooh.
nuts, completely
Yeah.
nuts. And that's the beginning of what happened to me. And then I just shut up for like 8 years. I didn't say nothing. I didn't want to
Huh.
be ridiculed. I didn't want to be ridiculed.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be picked on. I didn't want my kids who lived there to deal with any garbage because I owned the
Yeah.
house with my first wife. I wasn't necessarily living there. So I wasn't always there. I didn't want them to have problems, you know?
Yeah.
And then when I told them, basically don't go out that beyond the fence because Bigfoot lives out there. They all thought it was crazy, but I was being honest with them. And I'm a
Yeah.
little nutty. I'm a little nutty. I don't know if you noticed. So then they started having experiences of their own.
Oh.
Yeah. So it wasn't just me. Yeah. A lot of things were happening at night when I was out in my camper. I'd go over there and prepare for the next work day because all my work stuff was in the back. And Heather lived in the house with the kids. And, so I would come and go as I please type of thing for business,
Yeah. But it was a big
But-
property. So you lived on the property as well, but separate.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it like lived, but I was there running my business and I was there regularly kind of taking care of stuff. Like I own a business and I work on it's basically my work yard. When you go there, you get supplies, you get your machines and you go to work in the morning, you leave, you know what I mean? And then I had a camper out back that I used for an office and a gaming area because I like playing PlayStation. So I play COD,
Yeah.
But
Sure.
but that's where I had a lot of my incidences
Yeah.
when I was
So
in my camper.
I wonder,
Yeah.
so then I don't know how long you lived there before, but I'm just gonna throw a little theory at you. So
Yeah, sure.
you were at one point living in the home with your family and then there was a separation, so you're separate. So do you think that this Bigfoot was kind of a guardian of your family, maybe the land, and was attached to you all that way? And then you left, and so you're getting like acorns thrown at your head and things like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like doink. Do you
Yeah.
think? And then that's why he just finally came to the point where, assuming it's a he, that, okay, well, this is how it is. And we're going to, continue, like, he's going to watch over you and them in different ways. I think that's kind of,
Yeah, no, I know where you're going with that. And I got to be honest with you, none of that would ever have crossed my mind in the beginning of this. It was strictly flesh and blood. It just so happened to be there. You know what I mean? They built a big house over on the other side of the river. So I thought an animal got pushed to me type of thing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Never thought any of that until I started really getting into research. And then Dave McCullough one day on an investigation in my backyard, we heard them speak. We heard their language and we heard two of them conversing back and forth. And it was mind blowing. It's the most amazing thing I've ever lived through in my life. And I've had people that have stood in front of them and say, what you experienced was greater than what I experienced. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Them having a language is just a theory.
Yeah.
It's not really a theory anymore. It's beyond a theory, right?
Yeah.
But the fact they speak a language and we heard it was amazing. And
Yeah.
I'm over here waving bye to them and thanking them and I'm leaving. And Dave McCullough looks at me and says, I think they're here because of you.
Yeah.
And it was such a profound statement for such a quiet man to make that I took it home with me. And that statement did not hit me until months later. And I went, oh my God.
Yeah.
I feel that's true. I feel that there's a lot of that I feel a connection to them. I've been flanked by them 3 times. Yes, I was scared, but I didn't think they were going to eat me. I didn't have that feeling, but I had one here, and one there. And I was surrounded. And if they wanted me gone, they would have had me gone. And that was on 3 different occasions.
Yeah.
So-
And as well, that kind of leads me to a question then, because I myself am afraid of the woods. I could tell you stories of me going camping and just I'm afraid of mountain lions and the wildlife and stuff. And so in California, you can't carry a gun with you anywhere. So it's like, for somebody like me who's interested in Bigfoot hunting, but then I watch shows like Missing 411 and then a lot of like hunters disappear. People just disappear in the woods and they never come back. Do you think that in any way involves Bigfoot like maybe the people weren't being right or were aggressive towards Bigfoot and they're not back to tell the story because they got him? Or, do you think that they observe it and just don't interfere? Like, think anything about that? Because it seems like they're around and they're aware of us. So do you think that maybe like, because I've heard stories like there was a child that disappeared from the family and they found the child like a mile away on top of a hill and the kid was like 3. And so there was like the whole UFO thing, but could it have been like a Bigfoot thing where they saved the child and put them in a spot? What do you think about that kind of stuff?
Roger, what do you think about that? You're a hunter, so if I was
Yeah.
on, yeah, I would like to hear that from you. What do you think? I mean, you think hunters disappear and get maybe mauled or killed by Bigfoots?
The possibility. There have been stories where, there was a story, I think it was out in Missouri, a guy was out hunting and he saw this big, large figure and he had him in his sights. He aimed the gun at it and it stared right at him. And then he realized that it looked like a man. So he couldn't pull that trigger. So, so he put the gun down, what have you. And well, the Bigfoot just walked away. But I just think in those instances, I don't know, if you shoot one, right, I'll tell you, they're not going to be happy. And just think of the size that they are. They're like over 8 to 1,000 pounds, 800 to 1,000 pounds. And they're like 8 to 12 feet tall, that stories are. And I don't know. I mean, you need a bazooka gun to, but
Right.
I just think that any aggression towards them, I think that would probably anger them. And that's when they'll probably rip you apart or whatever, or that they are, protectors of the woods and, you're taking away their food. I don't know if you're out deer hunting, that's why, they'll probably give you growls and things like that for you to hey, beat it,
Yeah.
so anything's possible, DeeDee, in that case.
Yeah.
And
That's true. Anything is possible.
yeah, I know. And I agree with the fact that if, like they talk with just even with a mountain lion, like you mentioned, or a bear or something, you have certain procedures and ways of that your best chance of getting away from them is, right? We don't turn our backs on a mountain lion. As soon as you turn your back on a mountain lion, that's the place he likes to eat. He bites the back of your neck and you're gone, right? Well, it's the same type of thing that, there could be a procedure. We just don't know about it because it's a creature that scientifically hasn't been discovered and we're not doing it correctly and their chances are lower. Or maybe it's a hunter out there and the first thing he does is, the hell. And it's too late. You know what I mean? And it's gone. I mean, they aren't going to probably defend themselves, I find when I say that they built that housing unit and everybody moved across, that is not the case. And I know that because the property damage I have is so very old. The trees that have been broken and misshaped and manipulated have moss on them from 50, 60 years ago, possibly longer. So they have been there long before, maybe not, I don't know about my house. I have no idea. My house was in the 50s, but I'm sure they've been here hundreds of years. And I've gotten reports up and down this particular corridor that I don't particularly point out geographically, so I don't want people really going there and messing it up because I'm protective of these creatures.
Yeah.
And I've got to gift them stuff with them, and I've bonded with them, and I leave my woods and I yell out to my woods. I've got arguments with them because it's taken them so long to eat the damn gift I left them. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So, so there's things that for me that can happen to you out in those woods. And if you're not bonded and they don't necessarily recognize you, just like any other creature, you can end up in trouble. You can end up in a situation you sure as hell can end up missing. But if you have that vibe like a child does, you might end up safely 2 miles away. Maybe that child was in peril. You know what I mean? I don't put that past them either, because the gentleness of them is what I've seen. And I have an example here. If you could go to the one, if you look down, it says slide 7, has a little piece of like green flowery looking thing with a hallway. I don't know why the hallways. Yeah, thank you. So the reason why, um, so the reason why I bring this up is because it was a delegate gift that was given to me, and this is my gifting stump. And I don't know if I ever, I can control it once. Oh, sorry, that's just a piece I have from Bigfoot. You'll be fine. Yeah, no, it's not on there. So if you're further away, you see a little green thing. That's a sapling. I don't have the picture in here, but there's 2 saplings on a stump. And I put them on the stump at the edge of the fence where the fence is, right? So there's a fence here that goes out to my game trail. So my yard's fenced in and there's a stump here. I thought that would be the best place. So I put 2 saplings on it. So if a squirrel jumped up there and it knocked the saplings, I'd have an idea, right? A bird was up there hopping around. I'd have an idea, but I had oatmeal raisin cookies, and they're my favorite cookies, by the way. I preferably like them warm with hot chocolate. Thank you. I'll send you my address if you message. Sorry, I was going to get my chummy guy food. No, so so I had nice fresh oatmeal raisin cookies. I walked out to the fence. Now, mind you, I have a neighbor like right here. I'm holding this up, and I'm like, hey. I'm going to take these cookies. I'm going to put them on this stump right here. Like I'm literally giving them detailed directions. You know what I mean? Like they're new to this. Well, I'm the one that's new to it, right? So I take it, I 3 cookies and I put them down in between the saplings. I take my picture because we have to research and we have to, gather facts because that's what research it is, right? The quest for facts, right? Look it up, right? If you're not researching, you're not looking for you're not looking for facts. That's what I'm doing, looking. So I take the picture and I go out the next day. I'm like, kid at Christmas, let's see what they left me.
Yeah.
Here's my damn cookies. I'm like, the hell? You take my cookies, bro. Yell out to the woods, I left my cookies there and you didn't take them. So I leave, I go to work, come back, got my hands up to the woods again. I'm yelling out to the woods. Neighbors are probably shutting their shades and everything else, right? There he goes again. So anyways, this was 3 days of this. The 3rd day I yelled really loud, got mad. And I was like, it's all bullshit, kind of mad, And I came back out the next day and my cookies were gone. And I said, what? Wait. Cookies are gone. So then I'm like, all right, let's look for crumbs because a bird or a squirrel must have eaten. And there'd be crumbs everywhere. My saplings would be moved, and I'm like, hey, the saplings aren't moved. And I had like little sand, like a sandy area around the stump, trying to collect anything that might have hopped around. I'm looking around this. There's not a crumb anywhere, DeeDee, nothing.
Huh.
And I went, let's check the fence. So I stopped going up to the fence, and it's an old fence. It's not code nowadays where they have to be rounded off for safety. These ones are like prickly like this. Like you stab yourself and climb over. So I'm looking for here. I don't see any here. I'm like, oh man. So I look down and there's a little separation between the ground and my fence. And I just found it. Yep. Yes, I'll show this to you, Wojo. I just found it. I was looking through some of my old archives, right? I didn't have time to put it in the show. Sorry. There's an impression in the compost. Now it's just compost, so I don't get a chance to have all the fun of the guys that have mud and sand and all that other great stuff. I have leaves and pine needles and compost. Very hard. You have to measure the impression in the ground or the compression in the ground, and you can find them. They're out there. They're 100% out there, But I found one next to the fence. Like something stepped down, its foot kind of slid underneath the fence a little bit, and it leaned over, and I went, oh my God. Oh my God. Could this be real? But I'm going, wait, where's my gift? Right? No gift. So I go back inside, whatever. I'm like, oh, what happened? So process it. Day 1, day 2. I'm back out in the woods yelling, where's my gift? Man, I took my oatmeal raisins, right? I'm mad, like, where is it? Come on, bro. And just like I'm talking to you right now, right?
Yeah.
The neighbors are pulling the shades again, And I go back inside, and on the 3rd day I come out, and this is what's sitting in between the saplings. This is tree lichen, Lichen. It's the green patches that you see grow on all the trees. It sticks to the bark.
Yeah.
So it's basically tell me you're a Bigfoot without telling me you're a Bigfoot. Because this is a natural, it's a piece of Mother Nature. It's lighter than a feather. Okay.
Huh.
The wind didn't rip it off a tree and make it land perfectly between these saplings.
Right.
It was peeled off a tree, brought here and placed between those saplings. It is the only
Wow.
way. It's the only way that piece of lichen could have got to where it ended up on my stuff, right where the cookies sat.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, it is mind blowing. And that's the delicacy. That's when I found there was delicacy in this topic. That it wasn't all just, oh my God, a big half man, half ape wants to kill me. You know, that's when I started really understanding it more, you know, the different levels.
Yeah. And it understood what you wanted. And maybe to him or her, that is something that they like consider equal to a cookie. Like maybe it's something that, you know, they nibble on or something. And they're like, oh, try this, you know. What's so
Yeah, no, I will not. Nice. No, thanks. But it was such a delicate gift for such a big creature.
Yeah.
And I know they're big out back because we figure there's 3 of them. There might be a 4th. It's definitely a family. And I've heard them crunching and smashing things out there. I've come out of the camper and they've been around by the fence. And I've heard them, it's very dark. And one night I heard one of them step on a huge like log and the log snapped. I freaked out and this was more in my infancy. And that's why that owns house with me doesn't believe me. She thinks it's every other creature at the time. And at that time, once that log snapped, something ran across. And again, it's like Vietnam out there. It's wetlands and everything else. It ran across my whole yard in under 10 seconds. It wasn't that big. Yeah, it's a big yard. And not the 3 acres out, but across this way. But it's still, there's saplings, there's trees that are down underneath grass, there's water, wetlands, you know what I mean? Mounds of moss. And it just went across. And I ran over there like this to look. And then this one back here snapped something up high to get my attention. So I went, oh, that's juvenile baby at the time. You know, it wasn't a baby. It was, I mean, I don't know what a baby is in a Bigfoot, but it was probably about 5 feet tall as it busted through the trees. You can hear the different sounds. You can hear the low sounds. You can hear the high sounds. Right? Well, you know that,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The loud snap. If you're talking like, 2-inch and up, these branches are just like snapping, like it's just, the energy. That's the main thing, is just the energy that comes off of it. It's like, you're like, whoa, something very big out there.
Wow.
Very
Do you
big, yeah.
because you're a hunter, do you I'm sure as a hunter, you kind of have an intuition of when like there's an animal around, or you just like develop that, right? Do you get a different kind of vibe when there's a Bigfoot around? Like, do you sense something different about it?
I'll be honest with you. I've, going into the woods, you just right off the bat, you just feel that energy, like, Jesus, something, you feel like you're being watched.
Yeah.
Something is around. It's just giving up that energy. And,
Yeah.
me and Richie, we always talk about it. Actually, we had our friend Eric Vogel, he's out of our group, and he's a field guide, and him and his brother Tim, he came down with us and he felt that type of energy. He's like, Jesus, I know what you mean by energy. It's just something that's just that connection. As I'm hunting, one time I'm out in the woods, I knew something. I've been hearing something, didn't even know, whatever, but I was with my oldest brother and we're walking together, walking real slow. And then, as we're following this like little path area, kind of going on an incline, and all of a sudden there goes a moose. You can see the hump on a full gallop. You can just see his backside just go right across, but you can hear the trees like going like boom, boom, like all the dead wood. And that's loud. And you could feel that energy, but nothing compared to two incidents that me and Richie went through. Because it is, when you have high snappage, you can hear like the crunching of the footprints. And the very first one in his backyard was like 4 of them. And well, on Richie's video, he's looking at me. I just stood there like, I was just kind of like taken aback by the sound, the energy, and just the crashing of and the shaking of the bush, of these bushes, excuse me. But I thought, like, they're coming out. Here we go. What do we do? Can't run, you know? So it's quite an experience that, you know, we decided to continue on in that direction. Yeah, because when you hear in, what, Richie, 3-4 seconds that all this chaos happened, boom, boom, crash, then a dead, like, silent, I'm like, oh, they crouched. Like, they crouched down or something. Like, they just stopped on a dime.
Right.
I never heard sound like that. Energy, everything stops in a dime. And I'm looking at him. He's told, what the hell this happened? And I'm like, dude, that is incredible. What do we do? He goes like, I say we just keep going and try to flush it out. He goes, I think it was a juvenile that got possibly the possibility that he got caught. So we started walking, and as we're walking on the outskirts of the thick area here, we've been hearing like strange sounds because we kept stopping. What was that? What was that? We didn't know until I heard in my office, which is my truck. I'll have it full blast with the Bose and listen to my audio, and you could hear, whoop, whoop, and then like you hear a little tree like tap, and then you know, at one point we're just sitting there trying to gather our thoughts, like, dude, what are we doing? You know, it's like almost like a funny last rites, but it wasn't. You know, I said, yeah, we'll be remembering this great softball place. All of a sudden, this long, like, the whistle had like a sonic, like, I can't explain it. You both looked at each other and go, what the hell was that? And then it must have been a way that it could have been the mother or the father, whoever. There's must have been the other one that tried to draw our attention so the other one can escape.
Yeah.
Because now, once we came around, it's gone.
Wow.
So
Do you think that they could be going underground? Do you think that, because like, you know, they say they disappeared a portal, but are they like, because I just watched something in another country where in the war they had like patches of like ground and it would lift up like a door and and it was tunnels.
So real quick, we actually have video of the whistle.
Do you?
Have you ever wondered what your dreams are trying to tell you?
Unlock the secrets of your subconscious with my dream interpretation workshops. Join me for an immersive experience where you'll learn to decode your dreams, understand hidden symbols, and gain insights into your deepest thoughts. I will lead you through interactive sessions designed to help you explore the fascinating world of dreams. Don't miss out. Reserve your spot today and start your journey to self-discovery. Visit thedreamsinterpreter.com for more information or email me at info@thedreamsinterpreter.com to get started.
We have.
Okay.
You okay right there? Sorry to swear. Sorry. But we were startled. Could you hear this? Did you hear the whistle?
I did, yeah. You want to play it again?
Yep. Right there, I got it. What the fuck was that? Sorry, folks. Well, no, it's a natural reaction, and that's what's
Sure.
You know, we're reacting like natural humans. And I said to him, actually, it's I got you get the wrong one, but hang on, we'll do this one. The other one, it's important. The other one too. Hang on one second. I'll explain why. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So that's the sound that came from the woods, right? So we'll take that one down and bring up the other one. At the end of it, one of our astute investigators, in our boots on the ground Bigfoot investigations crew, because we have our own expedition crew as well that we've expanded to, and it's called Boots on the Ground. So watch for Boots on the Ground because we're coming. We got a lot of stuff planned. We're just all doing individual things right now, and we got to get it to work properly. But we investigate, we research, and we all have the same passion. But he picked up a knock at the very end of this. Right at the very end, you'll hear a little pop, but you'll hear what happens before the whistle, things like that, and a little goofiness with us out in the woods. This is how we do things. Sorry.
Or softball, because we've this town's ever had. What the fuck was that? Here it comes.
Right there.
Wow.
You can feel it here, but
I'll try to loop it so you can hear the dog. No, it's there. Yeah, it's right at 40. Hang on.
Yep.
Knock.
Yeah. And I heard noises
Right.
before that too, right?
Right. That's why his hand went up. So yeah, let me loop the knock. Let me loop the knock for you, okay? Right there. Everybody hearing that? Over and over again, you can hear that knock. It's so crystal clear. I don't know how we even missed it.
yeah, it's
So the good thing about that is you get the insight of what, we're kind of goofy out there, So give me a little context, right? You could take that off the stage actually.
Okay.
Because I'm looking for it and I can't get it. So to give you a little context, and I'm going to answer the question about the underground because it's such a great question, but to give you a little context of that is that we just got out to the woods and we were both having a rough day. And it was just like, let's go in the woods, man, because it's safe out there. There's no humans and they leave me alone. And So we get out there and we got our backpacks on and we are so ill prepared. We don't ever go in the woods like these two jackasses did on this night. Because one of the biggest things I tell people is prepare for survival, right? God forbid to get in a situation where maybe I'm running from one of these creatures and I end up separated from Wojo and stuff. And I'm hiding from them and maybe I need water to sip on to survive or a granola bottle. Nothing. I had none of it. Didn't even have an earpiece with a radio. Usually I have a radio with an earpiece and I'm like, hey, that way you can whisper and not, you know what I mean? You can be like, I got noise to the left and everybody could hear you. Didn't have none of it. We were just so aggravated with the world. We get out there, start walking. I come across what looks like a print. I get down, crouch. I start looking at it and I get this smell. And now, when I was always investigating, I never really noticed the smell. Wojo says, you ever smell it? I'm like, I haven't smelled it. And sure enough, with Wojo, all of a sudden I started smelling. And it's like a very potent, strong, like a pea. And it's like a pea that's been sitting there for 3 months. It's just stinky nastiness. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, because I don't have my radio, because I'm a meathead. Hurry. So, you know what I mean? No.
well, that deer smell. I go, what deer smell?
The deer piss.
I'm like 20 feet away from him.
Yeah. I call it deer piss. And I'm like, do you smell it? And he goes, no. And I go, oh, it just went away. So that's when I get startled because
like that
means it's moving.
Yeah.
So I said, it just went away, dude. And it was 20 seconds after that. We didn't even have any equipment out, nothing running, and the thing just got through the woods. And running. And you turn around and it's dusk. You saw how dark it was. And I turned around and I wholeheartedly expected Bigfoot to grab me by the throat. That's how close it was.
Yeah. Yep.
And he ran off into the woods. And you hear me in that video go, here it is. Because before that, I said, we figured that he was hunkered down and couldn't move. And I said, they're going to come for him. And he goes, what the hell? What do you mean? And I said, the other ones are going to try and distract us. And every time we look away, that dude's going to move. Basically, I told him how it happened. I don't know verbatim what I exactly said. That's roundabout what I said. And then all of a sudden we're talking, you hear us being goofy, and his hand goes up because he heard what you said, that, there are the noises. So he's like, and then all of a sudden, that long drawn out whistle, you know what I mean? And I was like, and then I would go, there it is. There it is. So there it was. It was very intense. So the interesting thing that when you talk about the, just give context to that whole thing, but when you ask the question of underground, remember that big hole I found in the ground, Wojo? I don't know what it is. I mean, could be a fox, I don't know, but it's really, really big. But the underground, for me, would have to be like caves, old mining. People say, oh, they have to be so big to live in the cave, must be this big or that big. Quite honestly, I would not be surprised if one of them wanted to get out of the way, if they could crawl into like a hole that big. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. And just slide into it. I wouldn't be surprised. They're just that incredibly athletic, for what I've dealt with. Mystifying, mystic, you know what I mean? Like, it's very, very possible. And again, I'm not a guy that leans to the interdimensional or the orbs of the aliens. I have friends that I value that have had that experience, and I believe them. I would never not say I don't. Excuse me. Allergy season in old Northeast. So I wouldn't say I don't, but I had one experience that brought me to the interdimensional cloaking theory, and that's it. But I had it, and it's real. So I got to kind of look into that aspect at some point. So them living underground here in my property, they would have to make something to live underground.
Yeah.
So that's where, and the other place I don't know well enough to say, is there an underground dwelling? I mean, so then you get in, my point is, then you get into the fact that, they've built this place to live underground, right? That's a whole nother basket that I gotta unravel.
Yeah. Well, just like to move around, like maybe, like I said, I think it was in Vietnam or something. And it was during the war, the other side had built all these tunnels and they were able to ambush people, and they were also able to like move through. And so maybe they don't like stay down there all the time, but it's almost like a little hiding spot that people just like, you're chasing something, you just run past it or walk past it. Like maybe you were standing right over it. They're like, you're up there.
I wouldn't doubt it, but I would say like in our area, it is that because we have like a lot of forestry, and it's, we do have like little pine groves, little hills and stuff like that where they can duck, because, maybe you probably did look at them and you just see a little hump, but it looks like a stump. Could be their head. You don't know.
Yeah.
But in our situation, what just happened was, to validate that, our situation is when you hear little sounds, he's hunkered down. So he's probably like not standing up. He's just hunkered down.
Right.
Yeah. When I kept hearing, we both kept hearing like certain low pitch, like help or something. But after that whistle and that soft, tree knock, that's an acknowledgement. So that whistle, which came from, I would say like 10 o'clock deep, where this guy is like really like not that far away from us, drew our attention towards the whistle, but we never heard the tree knock. That's the amazing part. We never heard that soft knock. And my phone picked up on that, thank God. And we just kept going, and then That was it. But we heard the dogs like way, way yonder, like, I don't know, maybe like about 300 yards. And I just think that they're picking up like maybe like the sounds that, you know, that we can't hear, but they can. And that's why we're like, you know, me and Richie were like, you know, we hear the dog like going crazy. But I go, yeah, it's no way he gone that fast, that quick. Already like 300 yards down in 5 seconds. They're fast, I'm sure, but not that quick. But I just think that the sound, like really like that high pitch that we don't know. I mean, Richie got, you know, he wasn't feeling well after that. And I think that he got hit by infrasounds of some sort, you know, because.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So can I touch on that a little bit just so it's not so frayed? Because I get excited as well where I'm like, yeah, that's what happened. And it is, that's what happened. But we had a conversation now. So we're in uncharted territory, so to speak, as a team at this point. That was way too close, way too big. The smell, you know, the unpreparedness, you know what I mean? Like all this stuff's coming together. So we got to pull it together. The dog starts barking. There's an open field. I'm like, oh, maybe he made it to the field, but then he goes, no, we didn't hear him move again. And he's right. And I'm like, oh my God, then why would the dog be barking?
Right.
Like, it didn't make any sense, right? So it was delayed. It was a delayed bark. It wasn't like, oh, Rich and Wojo were yelling, what the F in the woods? You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. And he's a ways away. Not that he couldn't hear me, but he's a ways away. So I was like, I'm over here going, oh my God, is that like mind speak? Is he telling the dog to bark? Is he doing something to get the dog kind of startled to bark? To distract you, to cause that chaos? And then the whistle happens and the knock happens. And every time you do this and there's noise going on, you make noise and it moves. You make noise and it moves. You turn this way and he moves. And that's what happens. You know, that's what kind of happened when I was flanked by myself. Not fun. When I was flanked by myself, it was the same type of thing. They would distract. Noise, 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 noise. That, you know, who was going to make the next noise? You know what I mean? And I was backing up and I remember having to put my hands up like, all right, stop. I'm leaving now. I'm going to go that way. I don't want him behind me. You know what I mean? Whoever's behind me, I'm going that way. And I really was like, you know, my hands up, tiptoeing out the woods. And that's what I did. Yeah. And then it was funny because one thing that I haven't shared a long time, I shared a long time ago. Because I remember when it first happened, it was so profound. One of those times when I got out, I heard a tree knock right after I got into my fence area.
Oh.
Really?
Wow.
And I was like, and I look back, I remember looking back and going, yep, I'm over here. And that's what I said to him. You know what I mean? You know, I got goosebumps. I love that.
Yeah.
I just feel the energy already again because.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's so magical, right, dude? So.
It is.
But DeeDee, like real quick, I'll try to shorten the second episode that we're in a much bigger area. And I found a footprint in the mud. And I told Richie, hey, you know, there's a car to go check it out and investigate. And then Richie's like, hey, did you hear that? I'm like, no, what does it sound like? It sounds like shuffling. Because Richie's got like supersonic hearing. It's unbelievable. And the area that he's pointing at, okay, is that there's these two paths that just, you know, parallel each other. And there's like a little moat area in the middle. So, and I'm a little bit ahead of Richie, and I'm with his son Maddox, and Richie's online, but he's explaining to the audience that he goes, it feels weird today because I feel like something big's going to happen today. I didn't know, you know, I heard that video a few days later because I'm still like this about it, and I couldn't believe like he already sensed the day. So, anyways, we're going down. He's checking out a structure, and he goes, hey, to your left. Now I'm like 15 feet away from him, and I'm like looking at the air. He goes, Ed, and he's like pointing, and all of a sudden everything just like erupted about 60 feet away. The trees, the snappage, And again, he's like, it's right there. It's right there. You can see the trees are doing this. The snaps are like ungodly. I really thought, compared to the first one, it coming right now.
Yeah.
But we have Max, so I'm kind of like protected, like with him too, and Richie. And at the same time, there was more sounds to like that's happening at like 11 o'clock for me. And then at like around 1 o'clock, there was more action. There was two on the run.
Oh.
And I'll admit, I was so scared. I'm like, hey, we come as your friend and this and that. We come no harm and stuff, things like that. I had to pack his fingers out.
We're not pressing over there, bro. He turns around and walks straight down and yells out to him with his little fingers in his hand to protect his ass. I'm like, I gave you these. And then he says, I quote, we come no harm.
That was the adrenaline kicking in, right?
I'm looking for Bigfoot. And I'm like,
I'm like ready to change my drawers here. And then like Richie's like, did you get that shit yet? And I'm like, well, I did. So, because I always have my phone clipped to my shoulder as like a GoPro, and the video would always out. And as I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God. I go, no, it's inverted in. I'm like, how did that happen?
Oh.
And at the same time, he was on live. His screen, everything went blacked out on him.
Huh.
That's how much energy, like something was messing around here, because everything was fine until then. And then I fixed, so now I fixed it. Now we're trying to get a bearing straight. So I was probably maybe 10 feet away now from him. And all of a sudden I could still hear the snaps and the breaks, but it's like covert, like it's like something must be crawling or something. I get on audio. I go, Richie, they're still moving. And then I just said, come here as your friend, and I'm asking for a response, please, if you're here, please respond, this and this. And then I gave out a whistle. I went, and I was like, I looked at Richie, looked at me, I was like, shit, they're still here, and the adrenaline out. It was just riveting, like compared to, the first episode that we had to now, they were still there. Now you can still hear movement. It was so nuts.
It was crazy.
And they followed us out when we were leaving. They were still giving out separate areas, tree knocks. You can hear it clear as day. We kept saying, did you hear that? Did you hear that? They followed us out.
Yeah,
wow. They wanted to make sure you left.
Yeah, they do that a lot. And I've had that happen pretty regularly. And right down to when I heard the samurai conversation that was going on in front of three of us. And that's the same kind of thing. You know what I mean? And the cool thing about that was I got to know that they don't only tree knock. I'm 100% convinced that they chest pop and tree knock. Like for instance, if you go on YouTube, I have one of my main video is you see an old blue van there, but if you listen to that video, it's magic. You hear something walk up to a tree, snap off something, and beat the hell out of a tree. 9 hits. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm in my camper filming it, with my phone because I heard a tree knock in the distance, and I found the tree that they beat on. And so I know they hit trees 100%. But when they were done with that samurai conversation at the end of it, the first one that originally started speaking, he was on the right. At the end of it, you heard a loud tree knock sound. And I know the location they were in. They weren't at the perfect tree with a perfect stick in the hand. There's just no way. There was more like, so it was like, and then the other one picked up where he left off. It was like big. He's a bigger dude. He's like, and then when he got done, he goes, but it's loud because their lungs are huge. And I went, there's no way. I said to Dave, there's no way that was a tree knock. There's no way that they got done talking and had a stick and was like, you got your end. Do you have your end of sentence piece of wood so we can show these humans we mean business? You know what I mean? It just didn't make any sense. Mountain gorillas do that. They do that all the time to show dominance. And I truly believe in this particular incident, they did a chest pump at the end of a sentence. So completely.
That's interesting. Could it have been like two males that maybe one male lives in a certain area and came by and they were like having a conversation because one was telling the other to leave and they're more civilized, so they don't fight, but they still, that's also a grounding technique too. People who are autistic tend to do this. It's so you can feel your presence. You can feel your physical body. Yeah. Huh.
Oh, well, no, for this particular case, I heard them throughout the investigation.
Oh, wow.
I heard their feet moving, walking around, and I heard them way off. And I kept telling Dave and the other investigator that was there that I'm hearing something move. I kept going, shh. Did you guys hear that? And they're like, no. And Dave's like the first time I ever met him. And I'm like, this dude's going to think I'm that Bigfoot guy. Everything's Bigfoot, You know what I mean? And I was really afraid, but I knew I was hearing something. And in the long run, I said it about 6 times throughout the investigation. I was like, shh, because I could hear low little leaves, but at the very edge of my hearing, like far away, but I could hear them. Like they were settling down, watching us. That's what it kept reminding me of. And then when we made it all the way out to the wood, game show, at the edge of my property, we took off all our backpacks. That's when they started talking. They were going back and forth. And I remember I had my hoodie and I reached for my phone and I said, man, what if they think it's a gun? I'm dead. I mean, that creature killed me in no time. And then I'm like, what if they stop? I'll just take it in. I got 2 good witnesses, just take it in, And so I sat there with my hand on my hoodie pocket like this, like just frozen, astonished. And the key to it was the location they were at was the exact direction that I kept saying that I was hearing things.
Yeah, they were there the whole time.
I kept going, shh. I'm telling the co-founder of Swan, Massachusetts, and that big guy in the BF on the road, shh. You know what I mean? Like, thank God they said something, man. I would have looked like a complete fruit bag. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, do something, please,
Yeah.
I will say this, though. 95% of the time, whenever like Richie does and all that, it's not an act, folks. I'm telling you, I have the audio and I play it in my truck. And Richie happened to be working down the street where I lived. And I was just so excited of the stuff that I picked up. And I gotta have him sit in my truck because I have Bose and surround system. And I have it full blast. And we just sat there. Every time Richie goes, that's where I want to really turn the volume up. And you can hear, you hear a yell, vocalization. Oh my God. He goes, what was that? Was that a yell? I mean, like you said, his hearing is incredible. Or, tree knocks, from a distance, things like that. I mean, or whatever he kind of stops the group, believe me, he gets radar.
Well,
funny.
I mean, obviously if you were having technical and that I just wanted to ask you a couple more questions, but so you use your phones. Do you use anything else? I know you will take the footprints and then you have pictures. Do you have the pictures of the trees and stuff, or can you describe that? What it looks like? So if somebody's walking through the forest and they happen upon what will they see?
Yes. We use a phone. On my phone, I have an app called Skiniverse. So if I don't have casting, I can get a 3D rendering of a print, or even a structure. I started doing it that way too. I've used my GoPro, but the batteries drive me nuts. So you have to keep 2 batteries to charge through because they don't last that long. But they are really good, really crystal clear, great sound on them. The battery's my only complaint. Okay, fix it. But anyways, thank you, DeeDee, for that. I feel better. And I used to have my camcorder, but we're getting back into that because of all the wonderful things that are starting to happen to us that we need to know more about this little thing again. You know what I mean? Because ultimately you go back to it. So,
Yeah.
I like to go live on YouTube. That's one thing that we do. Like, so like and subscribe to Banter with Richie B on YouTube and hit the notify button because we go out in the woods and we do it live from the phone. So anything we find, we all find together. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I take questions. I give answers. We have a lot of fun. It's funny. It's to me, it's educational. I learn a ton from the people on the side talking. We really have. We've used techniques that they've recommended on the side, and
Yeah.
they've been fruitful, right? So yeah. So if you go down to Richie B Evidence V2 and your pictures down below, you'll see a lot of the structures that we find and things that we have questions about that, some people might have answers for. But we also understand anything you see or what we do, we have experts in the field of whatever that might be. So, like, for instance, Wojo has a friend that's a tree guide. He's in Georgia. Is he a professor? He works for them now, right?
Yes. Yeah. He works in the forestry division for the University of Georgia. And
So, yeah. So we
he's
sent
been
him,
doing it for 25 years in the woods. And we sent him a bunch of pictures. And he goes, Wojo, I don't know what's going on up there. All my years being out in the woods, I've never seen anything like it. And he goes,
Wow.
that's just absolutely intriguing.
Huh.
So, yeah.
yeah.
You
So,
said that was one of these down here?
yes, there it is. I got it from here. Let's see, because I have to control it from here. So, these are structures that I've gotten into, not by choice. Again, I didn't go run around looking for trees. I just found weird structures and go, what the hell is that? Like, for instance, look at that screen, DeeDee. What do you say?
Yeah.
You say, what the hell is that?
Yeah. It looks like it was made. It doesn't look like it just happened. It looks like almost like a dream wheel.
And it was made, and we call it the dream catcher.
Yeah.
It's about like a 40-foot elm that's completely bent down and held down. And all these trees that you see in the middle of it are broken pine trees placed there.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah. So I found that with another investigator. It's about 12 feet high, approximately 12 feet high. That the elm tree is about that far around. It's not little. And when you find something like this, basically on your property, you go like that for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Study it because it's very confusing and it's a lot to take in.
Huh.
And stuff like this, I look at that, people go, oh, that's Mother Nature. And I'm like, not really. Because if you watch a lot of these stackings, I call them, the trees, it's kind of out of context. So this is the problem with structures. One, they're not scientific, of course. They're very difficult to get pictures of. And they're hard to document, right? So Alex Petticoff, I talked to him a little bit, and he said, try doing it in 3D. If you're doing it in 3D, you might get a little bit more of the area around it and the context that goes with it. So that's my next attempt. I've done one hut with it, what I thought was a dwelling. And if you see it in 3D, it's completely mind-blowing. Again, it's over on Banter, Richie B on YouTube.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. So, and these here, Wojo, explain what these are, man. You saw them a couple more times than me.
These are the huts. We found like 4 to 5 of them, like all like right what we call like a hotel because they're like right there.
There it is.
Yes. Oh yeah. So when you look to your left, DeeDee, the trees kind of like limp over. Okay. Now people will say, especially my friend from Georgia, that when it snows and rains, it freezes over, then the sun, like the frost on that it kind of gives it that limp of, to the tree. It's not broken or stressed. It's just as it's over in connecting and woven together in 3 different areas and leaving an opening in the middle. And there are like the brown pine tree that you see. There's a stack full of pine trees that it was pulled from its socket from the tree itself. It wasn't broken off. Not that it was literally like just popped it right off and put on the top to give it extra weight and cover. And Richie happened to be under one of these, and it was like about 7 feet, Rich, and inside it was just like you have moss, a nice area for them to like possibly lay down, or you could see like there was an indentation. So he had a scannerburst in there. It was just wild to see this, and we found a deer shed nearby. So like there's like activity, food, what have you.
Yeah.
Yep. And I compare the bottom left of the stream where you see the bends in the trees. I compare them to like boiling a carrot and trying to bend it slowly.
Exactly.
And some reason that's the analogy that comes to my head, because they're not broken. They're meant to stay alive. They're meant to come back every season and have cover. Not only that, if the sticks are there and the seasons keep landing on top of it, you get coverage anyways, even when there's not any pine needles on it, so to speak, right? So,
but also, DeeDee, you see how they're green? It's preserved. The cover, like it's like the preserved. Yeah, you see how it's all green?
Yeah.
It's all preserved. It's not like damaged or nothing. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and I said this off to even like the likes of Alex Pentecoff, who's not a structure guy. Let me emphasize that. He does not believe in structures, but he's an outdoorsman. And I said to him, well, I'm asking you as an outdoorsman, you've been in the bush from Alaska to British Columbia to all these different places. Have you ever seen anything like this? That's all I'm asking you. I'm asking separate from Bigfoot. And he says, humans do strange things, but I don't know what that is.
Oh.
So
But the amazing part though, Richie did his homework in, we met a gentleman out in Oklahoma, Brian Terrell, and noticed that they had similar huts like this. And again, different landscapes, whatever, but it's just the likeness is exactly like this. Ernie and Denise Pat down in their area had, they had huts like this too. And it's fascinating.
Do your research and pull people in, and to get a different look. Even the Vogel brothers, Tim and Emmett Vogel, again, they're outdoorsmen, they're wilderness. I send that stuff over to them for them to see as well. It's not just, it's not just, oh, this is what it is, and we say like what it is. No, we're not like that. We're looking for experience. We currently have a print and with Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum. And, I guess the way he does it, because he's so busy, he kind of classes them. In other words, not worth it, not worth it, not worth it, not worth it, not worth it. Well, we're listed as has potential at the moment. So we're waiting for further analysis, and it could take up to a year. We don't know. So we reach out to other people. We're not making our own determinations. There are some things that I've experienced more than other people. And I probably have more experience with structures than anybody, because a lot of people don't believe in them. So I guess that's where I come in. But yeah, so you have that. And I know they like destroy the structures that they build. I have, again, pictures in there of them broken, the same structure that's broken. We have a picture of me by the dream catcher when it's whole. And then we went back and found the dream catcher broken in the middle like a letter A, and all this at the 12-foot peak, about 8 inches around or whatever, like that big. Right. And everything's scattered everywhere, broken. So I was in a theory that they destroyed it, and now I have evidence that they do. And I can promise you the magic whirlwind did not break a bow.
Right.
Because the circle is stronger than a square. So there's no way that happened. That would be a bunch of BS. You know what I mean?
That one was really interesting to me. There's just something about that, because I understand like the huts are like a temporary shelter. Maybe they're hanging out or sleeping there or something. But that other one, it felt more like you called it a dream catcher. It almost seemed like it had more purpose than just, you know what I mean? That's cool that you.
Well, that's what Indians used to make.
Yeah, I see. That's the thing for me is I get a lot of like Native American vibe from the whole thing, and they have
100%. I saw a new video last night. A guy and his son saw from not far away, swinging a tree, and they were talking to each other, and they sent it off to the linguist, and they all said Native American. They don't know what they were saying, but that was absolutely Native American. Real quick, I know we probably got to wrap things up, but go down to the bottom again and pull that same slide up that you just had, and I moved it so you could see a comparison of what I found.
Oh.
So once I started researching the dream catcher, because this is what happens when you're a researcher and you own a pair of boots, you go and research, right? So this book was made in 2016. The dream catcher was found in 2021. So the book is from Christopher Noel, A Field Guide to Sasquatch Structures. This is the cover of his book. I don't know what you think, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, that's totally. Oh my God, how interesting. I have to check out that book.
He showed me numerous pictures and he goes, Wojo, check this out. And I'm like, oh my God, that's everything that we see, asterisks and letter X's, and it's phenomenal.
It's not the Bible. I'm not saying because the book has it, it's in. I never claimed to see Bigfoot over there building things. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, in my quest for facts, research, you find things out,
something similar.
At some point, you've got to take coincidence and throw it out the window. And I think
because if it was something natural, it doesn't. That for something to happen twice, it's not. Yeah, that's something.
But don't tell me I'm looking. It's in my backyard, damn it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And DeeDee too, like, for centuries, the Native Americans, they would make all these like type of tree structures where we can't understand, what Indians were doing it way back when to have these structures to say, all right, this is where the water is, or this is where the camp is. And here's me, Richie, and DeeDee walking through the woods. Yeah, what is that? I don't know, but that's it. We just move along. They know where they go, but we don't.
You know what it means.
They know what it means. And I think that's what we're seeing. I mean, it's just absolutely like, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It is. You make it so interesting. Like I said, I'm totally terrified of going in the woods. I have stories of camping that are just beyond ridiculous of how scared I was. But this makes me interested in going out despite my fear because it looks so damn cool. And I want to see it in person, so thank you for that.
No, glad it's fun. It's fun and interesting and mystical type stuff too. You know what I mean? Of course, you got to be careful. And I always tell everybody, I don't care if it is your backyard, prepare for survival. Remember that, prepare for survival. So
yeah, and it seems like the more you interact, the more they'll interact back. So
this is the Bridgewater Triangle. Anything goes. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and that's a good point you make, DeeDee. I do find that out. The more you interact, the more they do. Because we go out all the time, and I'm going to tell you right now, we used to go from place to place, but this summer we made it a goal to kind of pound this one area when we all have an activity, and lo and behold, man, it has been amazing. It's been so exhilarating, so magical, so scary, so for researchers, I'm telling you right now, if you find an area, go get that area. If you believe in that area, stay in that area. Let them get to know you like a neighbor. Eventually, the neighbor comes over and introduces himself. It's just the way it is. We all know that, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Because the minute we're walking in the woods, you can hear small snaps already. You can hear something walking through the woods. It's something over there. They're bringing more gifts for us.
Right, they're looking for cookies.
So real quick, this is raspberry zingers we leave for them.
Oh.
So in this, I guess we might have something to pull it out with though. Hang on, I probably shouldn't do it that way. Yeah.
While you're doing that, that was the day that when we found the zingers taken, and we saw we found two sets of tracks approaching to the gifting chair. There's a chair in the middle of the woods. We call it a gifting chair. We're like, this, and that's when we had that interaction, that chaos in the woods. And I was like, that's why I pumped up my zingers. Get one more, but so this time around, because I was like telling Richie, listen, I know your place, you gift. I go, we need to do it here. And I go, let's give them options. So I happen to, I bought some Reese's peanut butter cup, and I have a container, put the zingers in the container, another package of zingers on top, but I also put peanut butter cups on top with a rock and 2 sticks. I just want to see if they're able to open the container, so on and so forth. What they did is they picked up, it was a softball sized rock. It was heavy. And they got to the Reese's peanut butter cup. And then it's just like perfectly torn. And it was licked inside. Like, yeah, it's perfectly clean. It was licked.
Oh, yeah.
It was like unbelievable. Like the slot was all over the chair. I've never seen so much like, you thought it was like moisture. I go, no way. You see huge droplets in there. I go, the droplets are too big.
You see how that's ripped open and not chewed open?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not pecked at by a bird or clawed at by a raccoon or a squirrel. That is absolutely, you can see the tear edges right here. It's torn right here. And it's like something just peeled it open like that. And then to make his point, I know we got to get going, but to make his point about the, what I thought was condensation at first, it was not, because it was big glow witness. And we, as hockey player, our visors would fog up. And pardon me, people, but we would spit on them and rub it in, and then they wouldn't fog up anymore. Well, this paper was never fogged up. It was crystal clear. That wrapper I showed you didn't have any bit of condensation from Mother Nature on a moist human morning. It had none of it. So we knew right there when he said that, I was like, oh my God, I remembered that about hockey. And we grabbed it as evidence, and we found 2 more scents, but they took one, right?
And it didn't rain either. That's a big one.
It wasn't rain, dude.
No. What I'm saying is it was just so slop. But all right. So imagine a Twinkie. You take the Twinkie off the piece of cardboard. Right. You have frosting stuck to it. You have part of the cake stuck to it. No, the zinger was licked off. It like towards the end, it looked like it just like a little like
a nick on a tooth.
Yeah,
it was nicked with a tooth.
DeeDee, perfectly white. It was clean to like perfectly clean. With slaughter.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. We got a lot of crazy stuff going on, Miss DeeDee.
Yeah,
we know you got to get rolling. We don't want to keep you, but we can talk for days because we have a lot of stuff going on. Please, someone come with us.
Yeah,
it's not here.
It is.
Do you want to share, like, again, your channel and any place else you want people, like a live that's coming up anytime soon or anything? Go for it.
Oh, yeah. So this Saturday coming up, I don't even know what the hell's going on. What are we doing this Saturday? Do you remember? Great job, co-host. We've
got so much going on. Like, it's just amazing.
So every Saturday night at 6 p.m., you'll find us on the Get Haunted Network. You can always check us out on Power Stream out of London, by the way. We upload to Spotify and iHeart, all that stuff. But the live show is every Saturday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time, on the Get Haunted Network. And like I said, YouTube, Banter, Richie B, Facebook, my personal Facebook. You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and of course, YouTube once again, all Banter with Richie B. But on YouTube, you got to hit the notify button, because all the things, that discovery right there that we just showed you with the zingers, we didn't just pull that out of our pocket. You know why I can tell you that? And I have no problems with it? Because I had like 400 viewers watching me. They come out with me. I did a show called Virtual Boots on the Ground Investigations, meaning whoever was on my show, Sam's Pretty Paranormal, D, Who, Henry, all these, Damian Smith, all these people that watch our show all the time on the live, came into the studio to talk about what their view was.
Yeah.
And so we have witnesses, we have validation, everything right there. We have discovery together. We have excitement, exhilaration together. I didn't know my phone was glitching out until they told me, your screen went black, your screen went black. I'm yelling, yes, it was nuts. And we shared it with our audience. So make sure when you go over to Banter Richie B on YouTube, you click the notify button so you come out in the woods with us and enjoy us live and join us as part of the team it's your investigation as well. It's really cool. It's a great aspect. The way we do it is fun.
Yeah.
Let's have some. You guys like music? Let's jam out to some Parastream. Let's go. That's the wrong one, but there's my QR code. I told her, everybody get your phones out quick before she changes it.
Hurry up! Poor DeeDee. They thought she doesn't have headsets on, Rich. You blow her eardrums. No, DeeDee, no!
The one with the drone. The drone.
The drone. Okay.
I'm Richie B.
And I'm the Wojo.
Catch us every Saturday night on the Banter with Ritchie B Podcast on Parastream.
We're on the hunt.